What's up, guys? Jamie here, and welcome to episode 15 of No Turning Back. We will be talking about Wrestlemania, the road to Wrestlemania. There's nothing really to talk about the fast lane, but we will be mainly talking about what feuds we think is going off of it and what we think we want to see and what we're mainly just speculating, but all the links are in this description. All of our social media, all links to No Turning Back are down below. I have a playlist of that. And as always, I am with my co-host. Would you like to say anything? I think that he froze. I don't know what happened. I can't hear you at all.
I'm right here. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I got FaceTimed. Sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
But hi, everybody. Welcome to No Turning Back, like Jamie said. It was an amazing Royal Rumble. Really enjoyed doing the live reactions. That was so much fun. A lot to talk about off a pay-per-view that you didn't think that there was anything to talk about going into the lack of build.
Right. So while he gets the link, I just wanted to say that the pay-per-view is actually really good. I mean, we both did reviews, so we really don't have to go too much into it. But what I mainly wanted to talk about was, especially on the Royal Rumble and on Raw, was that the feuds that are going on right now. So it looks like, at least, because certain wrestlers eliminated certain wrestlers. So, for instance, I thought that, and because there was a match on Raw the next night, was that the Jericho versus AJ Styles could be a possibility. And now I'm thinking that it is the Wyatts and Brock Lesnar that are going to feud. And then it leads to the main topic, which we're going to talk about later. Who faces Undertaker? There's really nobody left on his level. And we're going to get to something that made me and Raz very angry at the possibility of who he could face. And I don't want that to happen. Would you like to add anything?
No, you go ahead and just get into that. I'm getting into the link for everybody.
So for Raw is actually pretty good. I enjoyed the Raw. It was a lot better than the last week. Although for a pay-per-view after, a show after a pay-per-view, it's almost like WrestleMania status. But it wasn't a bad Raw. It was actually pretty good. And the best thing that happened was the fact that The Rock made a return on Raw, which is fantastic. The segment with him was absolutely amazing. He had the New Day there as well. And I remember my timeline saying how much they wanted the New Day interaction with The Rock. And I even said, imagine if the New Day came out, because I was getting ideas off of my timeline. And I was like, oh, yeah, those four would be great together. And then it happened. So, anything else, Raz? Because I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, the interaction between The Rock and the New Day was really good. And actually, the Android is not letting, because it's an Android tablet, go figure. It's not letting me sign in to the YouTube app.
I will just do the promoting, but go ahead and continue your thought.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, that's all right.
But yeah, I wanted to use my better camera, and because I wanted to use my better camera, my mobile devices are not cooperating, but I think the better camera is more important. But anyway, what I was saying was that The Rock and the New Day stuff was really cool. When they said a big star was returning, I didn't have any idea who it would be, and so The Rock was a really nice surprise. hindsight being 2020, I guess we should have known because Raw was in Miami, but still, it was a very cool thing to happen, and I just died laughing the entire time that those guys were together because they're just inherently hilarious people. I I loved every bit of it. So, and then of course the Jericho versus AJ Styles match on Raw was absolutely amazing. I mean, who would have thought that that would be AJ Styles' debut one-on-one match in WWE against Chris freaking Jericho? And I'm not just saying that because it's me. I'm saying that because of the level of talent that Chris Jericho is, and that just shows the faith that. Sorry about that. My nose was dripping a little bit there, but it just shows the faith that WWE already has in AJ Styles.
So what feuds, I was talking about a little bit about that in the beginning, but since this is mainly what the video is going to be about, what feuds do you want to see? What feuds do you think are happening? And our big rant about Undertaker. Not Undertaker, but who his opponent is rumored to be.
Yes, well, coming out of the Rumble, I thought that one match could be AJ Styles, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
But that would
But
be sick, the three of them together.
yes, it would. And I'm just going to turn off this piece of crap tablet. I forgot it was still on. Sorry if you heard any background noise there, viewer peeps. But yeah, what I was saying was that I originally thought that would happen, but then on Raw, after the one-on-one Jericho match, and the way Jericho just sort of grabbed AJ and pulled AJ to his face, like all signs pointed to a heel turn against AJ.
Yep, and they also eliminated each other. Like a couple of them, that's why you thought that eliminated each other in the Rumble.
Yes. Yeah, AJ Styles got eliminated by Kevin Owens, and then Sami Zayn eliminated Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought that was going to shake down like that. But how awesome was it to, I mean, I know we already talked about this in our reviews.
Solo reviews, which you should check out after this video.
You absolutely should, because we both put a lot of work into those. But the two surprises of the night that I still can't get over are those two, AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. That was really, really cool.
That was honestly one of the best surprises about the Rumble. And also, what do you think, since The Rock can't wrestle, what do you think he's going to do for WrestleMania?
I was thinking about that when he came out and talked about how he's going to go to WrestleMania to participate. I'm thinking he can't face anyone. That's why I got a little tongue-tied there, because I was getting ahead of myself in thoughts. Live, folks. Can't edit anything. But yeah, I was thinking that same thing about what is The Rock gonna do? And originally I thought it was gonna be The Rock versus Triple H in some capacity, but obviously that's not going to happen now with Triple H as WWE champion. However, I could see The Rock and Roman Reigns' corner, since that's his cousin. In that
that's
match.
true. That's true.
And then I could, or maybe The Rock's the special referee. Maybe The Rock finds a way to get some kind of authority to offset the quote unquote authority to give Roman and Dean a fair shot in that match.
That's true, because he has to have some sort of big interaction in WrestleMania. He's got to do something. If he can't wrestle, he's got to do something big, What other, since this is such a lackluster, roster, what other feuds do we see? Could it be like, because obviously now Triple H has the title and Roman Reigns is going for those two are going to face, and then it's looking like Brock Lesnar and the Wyatt family now, and maybe now it's looking like an AJ Styles and Jericho, or it could be like you were saying, a triple threat. Now that all those guys are doing something busy, who does Undertaker face? You know?
Well, first of all, should we just go ahead and get that rumor out of the way and talk
Yeah,
about that
I think
first?
we should.
The big rumor with a lot of traction right now is Undertaker versus Braun Strowman. Now,
Please
there's nothing wrong with Braun Strowman as a character. He's got a lot of potential, but that's the key word: potential. He's virtually a rookie, and he hasn't even been in a singles feud at all. Period. And you're gonna make his first ever singles feud at a WrestleMania, and then on top of that, you're gonna make it a WrestleMania feud with the Undertaker? Just no. On any level, that does not work.
Right, and I absolutely think Braun Strowman is great. I think he's a great addition to the Wyatt family. I really, really enjoy the Wyatt family. I think it was fine when they had their feud at Survivor Series, when it was a group of them. But not only does Braun Strowman is too early in his career, he hasn't even been there for like a year, right? I mean, it hasn't even been that long at all. Not only that is he's inexperienced. Not only that, he hasn't been in a singles match, I'm pretty sure, right? Or maybe like kind of, but not really. And he's not, I'm not just saying this, but he's not at Undertaker's level. The Undertaker needs a high bout match. He needs like a high profile match, and you need a draw for that. Undertaker and Braun Strowman is not going to draw anything. Undertaker will draw, not Braun Strowman. And honestly, it would be pretty disappointing at WrestleMania 32, seats that are supposed to hold 100,000, when he is only going to face Braun Strowman. When you have other guys facing such great opponents, which I was going to say maybe like AJ Styles, or maybe like Jericho, or we can't do The Rock. But then they're all in their other feuds, and they're all, you know, they can't be faced because they're all in different feuds. But then who's left for him? I definitely don't want to see Braun Strowman. Definitely don't. I like Braun Strowman, but I don't want to see Braun Strowman face him. So.
Yeah. Just thinking outside the box a little bit, because I always try to save a little bit of something for no turning back and talk to you about it on the air, because I want a genuine reaction from you. What would you think about Samoa Joe taking the NXT title from Finn Balor at the TakeOver Dallas pay-per-view, and then Finn Balor is the opponent for Undertaker at WrestleMania? Of course.
That was another suggestion that a lot of people were saying. They were even speculating with that, with the Survivor Series opponents. They were thinking who could be the two opponents for Kane and Undertaker, but then everyone was hurt or in their own feuds like we're dealing with right now. That, honestly, I would actually really enjoy Demon versus Demon. He could, for that special occasion, and he's such a talented wrestler, and to go, in his demon form, that honestly would be pretty interesting. But at the same time, is he really, ready to face someone like Undertaker? As talented and as much as I love Finn. Your thoughts?
Well, I was going to say that I think the difference between he and Braun Strowman is that Finn Balor was a seasoned veteran for years before he even got in WWE. It's very similar to why you could book AJ Styles versus Undertaker. He may not be.
That's true, but you know how some people are. That's why I was saying that.
True. But it's not necessarily about pleasing everyone. It's about putting on the best match. And I think Finn Balor would really, really deliver.
Thrive off of that too.
He really
would benefit someone. And also, getting back to Braun Strowman, it's not that I don't like Braun Strowman. It's just that also Undertaker works well with big guys. However, when two big guys are in the ring together, it's always such a sloppy match. It's always such a slow match. You can't really do anything, because Undertaker has faced really big guys before, and they weren't the best matches. Undertaker works very well, but just the two big guys together doesn't work. We saw that with Brock Lesnar and Big Show. Absolutely horrible. Brock Lesnar's great. Big Show, not great. But since they were such big guys, it was quite sloppy. And that's what would happen with Braun Strowman and Undertaker. And simply the fact that he's not ready at all. So, oh, and also you and I were talking about, Raz. What if they but what if they put Undertaker in the title picture?
Yeah, that I was waiting. I wanted you to lead into that because it's Undertaker, and you should lead into everything because
True,
because it's just a rule. But
of course, right?
yeah, but Undertaker in the title picture is absolutely what I think they should do. And for those that would say, well, what about end of an era? Technically, it's not Undertaker versus Triple H. It's Undertaker versus Triple H versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it's technically triple threat, so technically they wouldn't be facing each other. Technically.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I would love for Dean Ambrose to stand a chance to be in that match, but I don't see them pushing Dean Ambrose over Roman Reigns because the whole point of Triple H taking the title in the first place was to finish the business of the Roman Reigns Triple H feud. If Roman Reigns does not win the number one contendership to face Triple H, then nothing in wrestling will ever be logical again, in my opinion.
Right, and also about what I was going to say, which this is what our whole conversation was yesterday, is that I really would love to see Undertaker in the title picture. It's really not going to kill anybody if Undertaker gets his last run with the title. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us want to see him with one last title reign. It doesn't take away from anyone because he's retiring soon. And even if it's not this year, it's nice to have one last run for something. And honestly, that would be a really big draw, I think. Undertaker in the title picture. He hasn't had the title in a long time. He actually hadn't been able to be in the title picture for a long time due to injuries. But I think that I would love, I'm not just saying this, I would love to see Undertaker in the title picture. It would add such good to the match because right now there's no one for him to face, and that would be such a high profile match, him going after the title again. But then I think like technically, if it was three of them together, it wouldn't be because of end of an era. That's why I wouldn't want to see Triple H and Undertaker again, because that would be like the billionth time. But then at the same time, it's technically not them together, like Raz was saying. Roman would be in there, and I also think it would be interesting because Undertaker, minus the fact for like one thing, but Undertaker has really had singles matches, and singles matches were very important for the streak, but now there's not that streak anymore. So having, I guess, more than one person in a match with Undertaker would be interesting too, because he's always been a single competitor at WrestleMania. And I feel like 3 is not too many people, but it's also not a singles match. And also it would help for the end of an era. Or they could have Roman win back, and it could be Roman Reigns versus Undertaker because they've never finished that feud with each other. But what were you going to say?
Well, I just was going to agree with you and say that 3 guys in a match adds a completely different element to Undertaker, something we've never seen from Undertaker at a WrestleMania because of his streak. They did have a handicap match at one point.
Yeah.
But
that's why I said it minus one thing, which didn't really count, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I was just going to say the handicap match is not the same thing as a triple threat. And a triple threat, no matter who it is always so interesting because the match could end at any moment in any scenario. The champion does not have to get pinned to lose the title.
Exactly. And not only that, now that we don't have the streak anymore, it's not predictable who's going to win. There's no streak anymore, so could he have another loss, which is a completely different story and kind of cringy because it has to do with Brock Lesnar, and it adds to the fact that, like, what was the point of the 21-1? Like, that one has to stay significant. I definitely think Undertaker needs to stay winning, but that's a whole nother video. But I was going to say is that the match would be not only interesting because there's no streak, that also adds unpredictability. And then you have 3 people in there. Like you were saying, anybody could win. And the champion, or it doesn't matter doesn't have to be pinned in order to lose. So it
Exactly.
also adds that to there.
Exactly, and I think that's how, if they didn't want Undertaker to win the title, which I think if he's in a title match, he needs to win it. But if you're booking it to where you don't want him to win it, that's how you keep that record that you're talking about, that 21-1, and the importance of the one in Brock Lesnar. That's how you would keep all that intact, because you would have Roman Reigns pin Triple H, and Undertaker would not be involved in the loss itself.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that if Undertaker is involved in any other matches at WrestleMania, he has to win. Not only because you know you got to have Undertaker win at WrestleMania, but the fact that we were just saying that it'll tarnish that 22-1 or that one loss, and it would be unfair to Brock Lesnar, and I don't even like Brock Lesnar. So I think that one loss is very significant, and he needs to stay winning. And because I love Undertaker, so that's why I want him to keep winning. But yeah, the like a three-way match would be a great way for WrestleMania. I think that would be a very high profile match. And also, we would like to see Sting versus Undertaker, but that's probably not happening. So that's not on the list. And then we would love to see Daniel Bryan come back and face him, but that's not on the list. So then we were just doing scenarios in our head, right, Raz? That's what we were doing yesterday.
Yes, we were doing scenarios in our head, and we have more that we're going to talk about with not just Undertaker, but with some others as well. But I did actually read some news that I didn't get a chance to tell you about, so I want your reaction to this. I read that Daniel Bryan was cleared by another doctor.
No way!
Yeah, he was cleared by another doctor that's not the WWE doctor. He was cleared by the MMA doctors.
Oh.
So that's literally 3 doctors now, or maybe 4. I've lost track, but it's at least 3. It's 3 to 4 doctors that have cleared Daniel Bryan to compete, but yet WWE still won't let him compete. What is their problem? Especially right now with the roster being so.
You would think they would be begging Daniel Bryan. They'd be like, even just for this one match, we need you to come back. You know, because it'll draw people to want to watch WrestleMania. Yeah, so that's what are they waiting for? I don't even know what to say. I'm just like ranting right now. I don't even know what to say. Daniel Bryan needs to be cleared. They need to clear him already, especially like for right now, because if that was the case, that would be a good opponent for Undertaker. They've tagged before, you know, with Kane, and that's another person we thought could possibly be his Survivor Series partners, but we were thinking maybe we were just Raz and I were just going at it yesterday. We were acting as if the creative team yesterday, but we were saying maybe you could book Daniel Bryan and Undertaker if he were to be cleared.
Yeah, and Daniel Bryan has said in the past that he would like to face both Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. So do Undertaker now, do Brock Lesnar next year. That works for me, for Daniel, as far as Daniel Bryan is concerned. But I don't want to be naive here, because I know people are what they're gonna probably say in the comments. They're gonna be like, it's a concussion, and WWE is in the middle of being sued by former wrestlers. They're in the middle of dealing with a half lawsuit with the NFL as well. Like, concussions are nothing to play at. So I don't blame WWE for being overly precautious, but if only one doctor is telling you that something's wrong, and 3 or 4 others are telling you there's nothing wrong.
And they're not biased, by the way, because one's MMA. Well, it might be because one's MMA and one's wrestling. But what I mean is that a foreign company is telling you he's cleared. Doctors that have nothing to do with either company are telling you that he's cleared. So clear him so he can do something and help your WrestleMania.
Exactly. And it should have happened at Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan should have been one of the 30 guys in the Royal Rumble. Not necessarily win it, but he should already be active and already be building toward a feud right now. Even Talent was surprised. I don't know if you read that or not, But I think I told you on FaceTime about it that even talent was surprised that Daniel Bryan was not a part of the Royal Rumble.
Wow.
So it's just mind blowing with the state that we've gone from ranting about Undertaker and his well being at WrestleMania, making this whole thing about Daniel Bryan and the fact that he is well and WWE doesn't see it. I think we might have to rename this title. I think you called it like Road to WrestleMania or something.
Yeah.
But we
Just
might
Daniel Bryan and Undertaker.
yeah, the Daniel
WWE
Bryan
rant.
Yeah. Yeah. So because that's really what it's turned into. But it's just so freaking frustrating because what does WWE need more than anything in the world right now? Star power. And that's exactly what Daniel Bryan is. Whether you like him or you don't, facts don't lie. He is a star. People gravitate toward Daniel Bryan. Who will ever forget Occupy Raw, where the fans like flooded the ring to get Daniel Bryan a title shot?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Daniel Bryan is a unique force in wrestling and something that they absolutely, truly need right now. And I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus Undertaker. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go as far as to say if Daniel Bryan is cleared and he's facing anybody but Undertaker, I will cry foul. Like there's something wrong with that picture.
Definitely. That would be, there's so many scenarios, but like we were saying, there's nobody on the roster. The people that are on the roster are all in their other feuds. And then they go and they're going to stick Undertaker with Braun Strowman. Like, don't get me wrong. It's another rant again. But don't get me wrong. Braun's great, but he's not ready. And just, I don't want to see that. And people were even saying, like, Brock Lesnar. No, I don't want to see that again. It's over. The feud's over with those two.
I was so desperate yesterday, grasping at straws. I said, "What about Undertaker and Brock Lesnar in a tag team match at WrestleMania?" Which is a great idea for a match, but not for WrestleMania because you have to have the one-on-one match with Undertaker.
Yes, I think that's very important.
Undertaker in a feud, a legit feud.
The only exception we were saying was the three people with the title. Or unless one of them, at least not Triple H versus Undertaker in a singles match, but at least if they have to have Triple H and Roman together, I don't know. The only exception we were saying is for the title picture with Undertaker, Roman versus Taker versus Triple H. They could do some scenario with that. That's the only exception we were saying. And I feel like 3 is plenty. Because I thought what Raz was saying was Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, you know, actually teaming up when they don't get along versus the Wyatt family would make a lot of sense. And it would be brilliant, but I don't think it would be, like you were saying, I don't think it would be a match for WrestleMania. I think that would be good at a SummerSlam or even, you know, before WrestleMania. Like, I mean, last year wasn't that long ago, but even before Survivor Series or something, like, or after that, I think that would have been brilliant for them to tag together. It would kind of be like when The Rock and John Cena tagged together. It would kind of be like that feud. But anyways, that's a brilliant idea. We were talking about that yesterday, but it's because we were just grasping at anything.
It's literally WWE has gotten me to the point to where I am so desperate for Undertaker's well-being that I am grasping at things that I don't necessarily want to see. Because once you say that out loud, you know that that's not a WrestleMania match. But that's literally the point that you're at, is you're just desperate for something to work.
That would work. That would be a big draw for, like, if they needed to draw like a B show pay-per-view, but not a WrestleMania. Undertaker needs singles. It's always been for singles, those types of matches. The only exception, like we were saying, was the fatal, three-way match.
I would still, we've talked about this before. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember now.
It's not too many people, but it's enough people, and I feel like the title is an exception. But anyway, go ahead. But whatever we talked about when it came to that. But go ahead, you were saying.
I was saying we talked about this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I can't really remember now because all these shows blend together in a good way because they're just so off the cuff and natural, and that's why we love to do them. But Undertaker versus Jericho, I would want to see that. If it wasn't for AJ Styles and him wanting to put AJ Styles over, AJ Styles needing something incredible, I would immediately go to Chris Jericho versus Undertaker because Jericho is definitely on Taker's level.
Yeah. He's another wrestler that's on his level. But then he looks like he's going back to they're all in a different feud.
They are. They are. I wonder if that's. Now, you made a good point when you said that last year he didn't come out as soon as he has in previous years. But I wonder if that is, and when I say she made a good point, Phil, because I mean, when we're not on the air, you got to realize we're best friends. We talk about this stuff every day. There isn't a day we don't talk about this stuff. So when I say something like that, that's what I mean. But you pointed out that he didn't come out as early as he has in the past last year. But I wonder if a part of that is because
They don't know who.
they don't know what they want to do with him yet.
Right. I have a feeling that might be the case. But I don't know. I don't know. You better hurry yourself. You better think something fast because it's 2 months away now.
What I want you to comment on now, to try to help this discussion is what you said yesterday. And something I never even thought of, but it is something that is so true. And it boggles my mind that creative doesn't do it. And
I suggested it, right, yesterday?
yes, you did. And that's backup plans. Why isn't there always a plan A, a plan B, a plan C? Something where you have a plan A for two guys or two girls, but if somebody gets hurt, you can immediately switch it around.
Right. Have a backup plan. I mean, okay, I'm making it up. But let's just say they go, okay, so we're on the creative team. We're sitting down at a table and we're discussing Royal Rumble, WrestleMania storylines. It's 5 months away. It's not right now, but it's like 2 months away. And so we're on the Undertaker now. Who can possibly face Undertaker? Well, let's see. John Cena, they've never fully faced. That's the top guy. That is the one that we really want him to face. Like you have your A person and then you have the two substitutes. So we're like, definitely John Cena. But if for some reason John Cena can't do it, then let's have Jericho and Daniel Bryan. I'm making it up. And let's say, at least they have 3 guys to filter. And even if, Daniel Bryan and John Cena are out, they at least have Jericho. But now they don't, and they're scrambling to find an opponent for Undertaker. And you can't have WrestleMania without Undertaker, even if there's no streak anymore.
Now, there might be somebody out there watching us, whether watching live or watching later on, that will say, well, let me play devil's advocate and say that Undertaker doesn't need a marquee opponent this year because we've seen him so healthy that clearly he's not going to retire at the end of this year, thank goodness.
If that's the case, then you'll know by the opponent he faces. So if he faces not, let's say, not like a big opponent, not in terms of size, then he's not going to retire. Which I want it to be that way, but then I'm just like, it wouldn't be interesting to see though. He always has such a good match. He always has such an interesting opponent, and or Undertaker always benefits off of doing like a newer guy, but then there's the argument they're not ready. And Undertaker deserves a good opponent.
Exactly. And what I was going to say is my argument against Undertaker doesn't necessarily need a marquee opponent is the fact that this is Texas. This is where Undertaker's from. His family, his friends are probably going to be
it's going to be a pro Undertaker crowd. They're going to go nuts when he comes out.
It is. It's going to be a very pro Undertaker crowd. So he needs somebody to really help him shine. Well, not help him shine because he's Undertaker. But you know what I mean. Somebody that really, it needs to be a memorable match. We don't wanted to go, that wasn't WrestleMania because we don't remember who Undertaker faced. Even in the years where it's been just an okay match, you always remember Undertaker's
And you always,
matches.
yeah. So I put up all the links, Raz, if you find a way to go and tweet it and stuff.
I
But
will,
it's okay because I already did it.
yeah, I will definitely get that done when we're off the air. I guess maybe I'm gonna have to go back to my webcam, but I really don't want to because the sound and the visuals are so much better on this camera. I don't know. I'll figure out some kind of plan B that works. Maybe my old phone. I'm talking next week. I'm not talking now, obviously, because I don't want to like move and you guys are looking at blank space. But maybe my old phone will still turn on even though it's not active with a phone number. Maybe I can use the apps on that to do the promotion with my old phone. But anyway, I just it's very frustrating because I don't even know how to get through Fastlane because I'm so concerned about WrestleMania and how are they going to fill. This is arguably the biggest. Well, it isn't arguably. It is in terms of seats. It's the single biggest stadium that
How do you draw?
that WrestleMania has ever played at in 32 years. So how are they going to fill it?
I don't know because everybody is injured. And I was suggesting, we were speculating, and I was suggesting, what about throwing Undertaker? Like, my idea is not throwing, but putting Undertaker in a title match. Or, we were like triple threat, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and AJ Styles or something.
Yes.
And you were coming up with like Jericho versus AJ Styles even before the match was even happened on Raw. You were suggesting. I was suggesting about Undertaker in the title picture. I was even suggesting take the Triple H out of the title picture and put Roman Reigns. I don't know, and Roman Reigns sides with Triple H, and Undertaker gets the title picture. This is all what we were talking about yesterday. And getting back to Raz's point, why we were speculating, because what are they going to do to fill the seats?
Yeah, it's just so scary, and it was really surreal. I mean, she's not joking, folks. If you think she's just being nice to me because she's my friend and trying to give me credit, she's not joking. It was very surreal because not even 10 minutes before they put up that graphic of that announcement of AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho on Raw, I said, I would really love to see Jericho versus Styles. That's
And
a
it
match I
happened.
always wanted to see.
That's the one match he was suggesting. And then we were talking about opponents for Undertaker, and I was saying about the title, and I was saying about, what we were talking about possible opponents. And then Raz and I were coming up with like talking about not just Undertaker, but we were thinking about, like triple threat, like Sami Zayn, and or if he could face, anybody. Really, that's the conversation we were having yesterday. We were both coming up with really good ideas yesterday. Hire us, and we will make WrestleMania great.
Yeah,
But besides Undertaker, what other feuds do you think they could do? I
well,
mean,
I think the Wyatts versus Brock Lesnar is painfully obvious at this point.
yeah,
With the way that the Wyatts are just running roughshod over everybody on the whole roster right now, which I know a lot of people aren't going to listen to this. I know you have your reasons because you know you can just read spoilers and all that. But I really kind of encourage people right now to try and watch SmackDown because they actually did something really interesting with the SmackDown main event this week because they had a highlight reel of Chris Jericho with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, which then led to a main event of Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns in a six-man tag match against three of the four Wyatt family members. So they are really trying to make SmackDown strong, and what they did by setting that match up was to prove that the Wyatt family just looks absolutely unstoppable right now. They look untouchable. And the last time that anybody looked untouchable like that was when Brock Lesnar was on his run. So that's why I think that everything just
they're
points
building him strong so they can face someone as strong as Brock Lesnar.
exactly. And I think that especially with Bray Wyatt, I mean I know Fastlane's a couple weeks away and they always wait till the last minute to finalize every card. But I think with Bray Wyatt not being announced for a match at Fastlane, it even furthers the idea that Brock Lesnar is not going to win the number one contendership, and it absolutely is 99.9% going to go to Roman Reigns, 1% to Dean Ambrose, because Bray Wyatt is going to cost Brock Lesnar that match at Fastlane.
Yes,
So,
we were
so I,
speculating all the time yesterday.
yeah, so I think that is a for sure thing that will happen. I think that just thinking completely 10,000% outside the box because New Day needs a strong presence at Mania. I would love to see a triple threat tag team battle match of New Day versus the Usos versus two members of Social Outcast because they're really trying to make Social Outcast relevant. So I would like to see that happen. Maybe even throw the Dudleys in there, make it a four corners tag team battle match. Even one thing I would love to see, but again, it comes back to how many guys are injured right now and the state that the roster is in. Is I would love to see the return of Money in the Bank to WrestleMania. Money in the Bank does not need to be a pay per view. It never did. Money in the Bank was one of the strongest attractions beyond the streak that WrestleMania had. With the streak gone, it needs that strong attraction again. Would you like to see that? Because they did the ladder
I
match
don't think
last
it's
year for
bigger
the
than the
Intercontinental.
streak, but yeah, no, because it the guys that don't get an actual match, they would be able to do something at WrestleMania, you know? Because you have all these high profile matches and then smaller guys don't get anything. So it'd be a great way to have, different stars shine and you could have great different spots. And I always enjoyed having that. That's the one thing you would look forward to. That was the thing about WrestleMania besides the streak.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
and by the way, since we were saying about the streak, I would like, well, there is no more streak, but I would like to see Dean Ambrose face Undertaker because it would make sense because they never finished the feud with the Shield, and I know the Shield's all broken up and Seth Rollins is injured. But one of the Shield members to face him, I would like to see too,
and
since we're
Dean
talking
most like
about opponents.
yes, and Dean most likely will be open after Fastlane to face someone.
True. You know
So
what? I think you mentioned this, but I would like. Wouldn't that be cool to have like Sami Zayn, which they've already feuded before, Kevin? But what if it was like triple threat for the IC title, like Sami Zayn, KO, and Dean?
I would love that. If you're not gonna put AJ Styles in that mix because AJ Styles is
Or
so
put
over
AJ
Chris,
Styles in there too
yeah,
if he's
make it
not
a four,
gonna
make it
face
a
Jericho.
make it a fatal four way or make it a well. What I said was the original triple threat of Owens, Zayn, and Styles. But heck, put all four of those guys in the ring for the Intercontinental title. Chris Jericho makes perfect sense to fight for the Intercontinental title because he's the record
Yeah, as I
holder
say,
for
throw them
most.
all in there. Why not? They're all talented.
Yeah, and he is the guy who's held the Intercontinental title more than anybody in WWE history, Chris Jericho. So he would make perfect sense to be in that mix. So
All of them could go in there if they don't want to do Sami Zayn, KO, and Dean. You could always throw Jericho in there or AJ Styles in there if Jericho and AJ Styles aren't going to feud, and if Jericho's going to go on to face Undertaker, those four can face. Or if Jericho's not in there, those three can be in there. If AJ is going to face Undertaker, those three can be in there.
well, my next question to you is, and this entire thing is turned into speculation, which I'm not really
Yeah.
surprised, but because I pretty much knew what this is what this show would be, and I think she did too. But Jamie, that is. But I want to ask you, since Kalisto won at Royal Rumble, which I'm still on cloud nine about. I can't believe that actually happened. Who should Kalisto face?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because we don't want Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto for the
Well,
next
he's a
6 months.
strong heel already, so I don't think he really needs it. Um, and he's hurt right now, isn't he? Oh, and
Yeah.
not that we care, but I mean, I feel bad for him. Even I don't hate wrestlers, but Sheamus is injured right now too. But I mean, those types of injuries, like a broken wrist, will heal before WrestleMania. But still, like now, it was down to 10 wrestlers hurt. Now it's back up to 12 wrestlers hurt. So, anyways,
With Sheamus in the hurt.
I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto again. We've already seen that, and I have a feeling if it's Alberto and Kalisto again, it'll be he won. I have a feeling it'll be he won on Raw, lost at the pay-per-view, and then he won it back again, and then he'll lose it back again. I don't want to see back and forth. Either one of them wins and stays winning and moves on, or they keep Kalisto as the champion. But who's left on the roster to face Kalisto? And obviously you don't want like a huge star opponent facing him. I'm trying to think. Do you have anybody an idea?
I was trying to think of somebody that could compliment him well and really do.
But also not bury him. But at the
Also
same time,
not.
be a good opponent, like a big opponent. Not a huge opponent, but you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, we keep throwing out triple threats here, but what about a triple threat with Kalisto, Dolph Ziggler, and Tyler Breeze?
Oh, yeah. I actually was trying to think, like, who are some, mid-carders who don't have a push. I wouldn't mind having Ziggler in the match for that. He deserves it too. But I would be so torn because I would be like, but they all of them deserve a big push with the title.
Yeah,
So
that's the biggest problem when the roster is this sparse and you're trying to figure out like how you would, as a fan, if you had creative, what you would do if given the opportunity, is you make all these dream matches and then you realize, well, if these matches actually happen, I don't know who I would pull for in a match.
I know. Gosh, Tyler Breeze is a good heel, and it would be 3 mid-card people facing, which would be great. Because Ziggler's would help, I feel like, Kalisto, but isn't too big of an opponent because he gets buried sometimes too. And Tyler Breeze, just came up on the main event scene. So yeah, I would like that. We're just really brainstorming, throwing out triple threats, aren't we? You know what else I would like to see? I mean, I honestly would love to see Antonio Cesaro get a big push. What if he got thrown in there?
I would too, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's not severely hurt, but he's mildly hurt, which is why we haven't seen him.
I'm saying if he was back now, could you imagine maybe him going after the title,
I
or
absolutely,
even after the U.S. title, or even after the IC title, or
I
going
absolutely,
with Kalisto, or what if it was Ziggler, Cesaro, and Kalisto, or if Ziggler won the title from Kalisto and those two facing, or we're just keep throwing out triple threats, don't we?
yeah, and I absolutely do think Cesaro deserves a push, and he was so hot when he was not injured. So yeah, definitely bring him into something relevant. But this has been so much fun doing all this speculating, and this might be for a whole nother episode. Like we might want to hold off on this, but talking about Cesaro and and Ziggler and guys that don't get pushes that deserve it, I would like to dedicate either a episode of Nurturing Back or a collab video with you if you would like to do it on just that about why don't certain guys ever get pushed and why they should.
That's a good video. I think we should save that for our next episode. But yeah, I would like Cesaro to go in the title picture with Kalisto or somebody, because every event that I went to when Cesaro was there, Antonio Cesaro section, literally people are obsessed, and he's a great talent. So I would like to see him, but he's injured right now, so that can't happen. So I do like Ziggler versus Tyler Breeze versus Kalisto, or even Ziggler versus Kalisto. But then I think Kalisto needs a longer title reign, so then if he won, then Ziggler wouldn't win. Which then I'd be like, I feel bad for Ziggler, but they could continue the feud to where he could get a good reign, and then Ziggler takes the title. But anything
Exactly.
you want to add? Because
Well,
obviously we have Brock and the Wyatts. We might have AJ Styles and Jericho. Oh, what about the divas? Becky, what?
Well,
Not
Becky
Becky
Lynch
Lynch or
was.
Charlotte and what? Sasha Banks. What about that? We forgot to mention
I
that.
I think that that match needs to be a WrestleMania match, that triple threat match. But I could see them doing that triple threat match at Fastlane and just do the one-on-one match between Charlotte
That's what
and
I was about
Sasha
to say.
at
Like,
WrestleMania.
I could see them doing Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks at Fastlane, and then no offense to Becky, like she kind of gets the end of it, and it's Sasha and Charlotte, and then I want Sasha Banks to win at WrestleMania. Could you imagine that? Like obviously Charlotte would keep it at Fastlane, but then it would be the singles match of Sasha and Charlotte, and then she wins it.
Yeah, we're
Like,
absolutely in sync with the way we're thinking here, but it's just so sad because I don't want my love to get the short end of the stick.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They're all so talented, but I really want, really, really want Sasha to win. I was so excited when she came back.
Oh, it was such a great surprise. It really
Oh,
was.
that would be so
I mean,
good,
I
though.
got
That would be so good, the three of them facing, and then Charlotte and Sasha together. Oh, that would be great. Yeah,
Charlotte
what
and
were you going to
Charlotte.
say before I interrupted you?
I was just gonna say that you know what? Actually, it fell completely out of my head, so it must not have been important.
Okay, we'll continue what you're going to say about Sasha and everybody.
I think that Sasha and Charlotte will happen at Mania, and I think that if they were smart about it, just simply because Charlotte already plays it off well with this cocky heel that she's playing so well right now, and we all know what Sasha has done with the NXT version of the championship. I think now is the time to get rid of the name Diva on the title and
Just
bring
women's
back the
wrestlers.
women's championship.
Can you imagine at WrestleMania they did that? Can you
Yes,
imagine?
yes.
But also, I have a question for you, though. Since Charlotte's a heel and Becky's pretty much a heel, but Sasha attacked Charlotte, would that make Sasha the face? Because I like Sasha as a heel though.
I like Sasha as a
And then
heel.
Becky's the face. Becky's two face.
I
But
think that in this situation it's one of those things where
or it
Sasha
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
Sasha doesn't change her attitude because the whole boss character is just who she is. But she's gonna be
Right,
the
but it's also too heelish too, I
yes.
feel.
But I think it's all like the Stone Cold scenario where she's just gonna get cheered in the match over whoever her opponent is.
It's true. Or what if it was like Sasha and or Sasha like oh that wouldn't make any sense. Never mind. I was gonna say like a fatal four way since we're throwing out those two.
Yeah,
I
give
don't
me
know, or a triple threat.
I actually what about this? I mean, I know it's a really crazy concept and it probably is the wrong time to introduce a title right now with how convoluted things are. But should there be a women's tag
Oh,
team
that's what I
champion?
was about to say. What if they had like a tag team together and like well Charlotte's already champion, but I was gonna say that what if it was like Sasha and Charlotte or Sasha and somebody and then but Becky doesn't work with Charlotte because one's a face and one's a heel.
Yeah,
But like you're saying, we could introduce a women's,
tag
tag
team
team and
tag team championship. I would love to see Becky and Natty as the women's tag team
oh
champions.
my gosh, I would like to see since Paige and Natty are BFFs and have been really tagging together. She wouldn't completely have a singles title, but she would be with somebody, Natty. And I think Paige and Natty together are just great. And I feel like it'd be able to not evaluate, you know what I mean, push stars and give other people opportunity because there's only one title for the divas. There's about 50 for the men.
And the other part of it is maybe that opens the door. Although I still don't think that a lot of the NXT women are ready, and that's a whole other subject. And
That's
I'm
true.
doing weekly NXT reviews on the channel on my channel right now. By the way, shameless plug. If you want to see more from me, but that's one of the reasons. Like Jamie was saying earlier, one of the things we wanted to do is not so much do the weekly recaps because we're starting to do solo videos. We want no turning back to sort of just shift into discussion. between two wrestling fans. At least,
Right.
going forward, at least most of the time. But because I don't know if all of the NXT women are ready per se, I don't know if they would do this. But Bailey is obviously more than talented enough to be on the main roster. Have Bailey team with Becky.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. The heel group being Charlotte and Sasha versus Bailey and Becky. That would be great. And what if it was for the tag titles, Even though Charlotte has a title right now. But that's another. We're just good. We should just get hired, right?
Yeah. So you guys let us know, guys and girls, let us know what you think about that concept of a women's tag team championship. And actually, do we want to wrap this up for this week so it's not
Yeah.
too
But you can
long?
add your thought. By the way, Raz has been saying that nonstop about the tag titles for the women's division. He says it nonstop, so you should comment down on that. I'm gonna say we should do a question of the day like Bertaley does. Okay, Graz, I think you're about to do that. Go
Well,
ahead.
that is my question today. Should there be a women's tag team championship? Why or why not? But I think we already have our question of the day for next week because I think it's definitely something we're talking about. One of our loyal fans and viewers, David, posed this to us on NTBWE, the official No Turning Back Twitter. Follow, follow, follow.
Oh yeah.
He posted the question: should there be a women's Royal Rumble match? Why or why not?
Oh, that's a good question. I remember that. We should save that for next episode, or you could answer it here too.
Well, let's. My answer is yes if it's done in the right circumstance. That's my short answer.
But maybe not necessarily as scale as, not that they don't deserve that, but as big as like the men's. They definitely deserve one, I think, but only if it's done right.
Yeah, so that's our teaser answer, and then we'll do the full thing next week on that.
Right. So anything else you would like to add? I think that went really well. There's a lot to say, a lot of good back and forth, a lot of
And I
like
like
there was ideas that I didn't even have, and then it bounced off of you, and then you added to mine, or I added to you. But go ahead, Raz.
exactly that went really really well, and I don't know, maybe I'm just inspired by the iPhone. iPhone just bringing that all
Gives
up.
us ideas.
But I really like the idea of, I mean, the weekly recaps, I guess, are important if something happens. But I really like the idea of most people watch the shows that are watching a podcast like this. So should this show always be just reacting to what we've seen on TV?
I think mainly what this is our solo videos touches into one topic. So for instance, for me, I did what's the PG is not the problem, but on No Turning Back, I talked about like the build to a pay-per-view, or you and I talked about the build to a pay-per-view. We recapped the week and we gave our reactions on the show, or we would speculate. For this instance, for this episode, we talked about feuds, we talked about the road to WrestleMania, we speculated, and we only touched on a few things that happened, like the main things that happened on SmackDown. But it related to what we were talking about because The Rock, The New Day, what feuds could go off of that. So
Yeah, exactly. And that's the format I like. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is sometimes it feels, when we're not really enthused by what they're doing, sometimes it feels very not from to you and collabing with you and not talking to people, but it can get very cumbersome sometimes doing this show and struggling with
to find
doing the
stuff to
show.
talk about.
But I think doing it this way and just making it a conversation more than anything else makes it better.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to add? I definitely agree with that. This episode has been really, really good. So
Yeah. So yeah, just give us feedback. Like, did you like this episode? What do you want to see? Like, what do you want to see for future questions of the week? So make sure you're following all of our social media. Check out our solo videos because I'm doing the weekly NXT reviews. I've got a video coming up fairly
I'll
soon
put down
about
below.
about the trigger word fake. I've got a bunch of other type of videos I like to do. Jamie's debuting vlogging this week.
Not Saturday. I lied. Wednesday, I'm gonna put it up. But
I
yes,
will.
I will put his no turning. I will put his NXT review down below. I will put some of our single videos down below. I think we might do Fastlane for a reaction, but definitely Wrestlemania.
WrestleMania will
So,
happen. We can guarantee that. But we're trying to convince ourselves to do every pay per view now because it was so much fun to do.
oh yeah, it was
So
a
I
lot of
hope.
fun. But yeah, don't forget to answer the question of the day. You really need to read the description. All of our social media links and everything are down below. So read the description. And anything else before we end the show?
KO is the man. He needs a legit feud. You
Undertaker
guys,
is the man. He needs an opponent, or I'm gonna punch WWE. So,
you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Would not do this without you. You rock. See you guys.
bye.